want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Why did the angel of God and Satan battle over the body of Moses? Well, this takes us to the little book of Jude. That's right, the one-page book of the Bible right before the book of Revelation, where it says there that Michael the archangel contended with Satan regarding the body of Moses. Now, we could get into all that, but the question is, why? Why would this happen? Well, we go all the way back to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 34. It says that Moses was buried in a place that nobody knew. In fact, it says God buried his body. Remember, because of his rebellion with striking the rock for the water the second time, which by the way is interesting because God told him to strike it the first time. He told him to speak to it the second time, but he did hit it with a rock. Rebellion led to not going into what we know as the promised land. So the big question is, okay, fine. So he's buried on the east side of the Jordan River. He was in rebellion. He doesn't get to enjoy the promised land. Why would God, quote unquote, need the body? Well, what's interesting is when you follow the trail of Moses throughout the rest of the Bible, here's what you discover. In Malachi chapter 4, 430 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, it speaks of not only him as the Messiah, but there are two individuals that are mentioned as coming alongside of him, Moses and Elijah. Then you go to Matthew chapter 17, and Jesus is on the Mount of Transfiguration, which is an incredible foresight and prophetic passage regarding what we know as the second coming. Just look at how Jesus is dressed in Matthew 17 compared to Revelation 1 and 19. Guess who's with Jesus? Moses and Elijah, which leads us to Revelation chapter 11. The famous two witnesses, which actually stand in Jerusalem, breathe fire against their enemies, and pronounce judgment against whom we know as the Antichrist. They are not given names, but they're given descriptions. And it says that one of those is able to turn water into blood. Well, guess who that was? That was, quote, Moses. So why did God need the body of Moses? Because it would be Moses who would not only be with him on the Mount of Transfiguration, but it would be Moses who would be one of the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. So thus, there had to be a little fight, and guess who lost? Satan. That's right, because when God wants what God wants, God gets what God gets. Great question. If you have one, send it to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.